Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the National News Broadcast. I'm Niketh Karunaratne.
A very good evening to you. I'm Sharifa Tahir. Let's take a look at the headlines.
The President concludes his state visit to China with immense benefits to Sri Lanka. A record amount of 280 million rupees recovered from the narcotic racket in Kurunegala. Former President Gotabaya called to the CID. 16 recommendations from the European Union to improve the future electoral process of Sri Lanka. The CID investigates into the Alla Odyssey online ticket incident. 2 students have been killed in an accident in Notchiagama. Another fatal accident occurred in the Southern Expressway. 14-year imprisonment for Imran Khan.
To those and other stories in detail now. President Anurakumara Dissanayake is scheduled to come back to the island tonight after successfully concluding the 4-day official visit to China, which granted many benefits to Sri Lanka.
This state official visit was conducted under the invitation of Chinese President Xi Jinping. Sri Lankan President's visit to China marks a significant milestone in further strengthening the traditional friendship and bilateral cooperation between the two countries. At the meeting between the Sri Lankan and Chinese presidents, many sectors stretching from economic, trade and investment development to tourism, digital transformation and multilateral cooperation were discussed at length. Sri Lankan President was warmly welcomed at the meeting with his Chinese counterpart. The two leaders reiterated their commitment to further strengthening bilateral relations based on peaceful coexistence, sovereignty and equality. After the discussion, Chinese President held a banquet for the Sri Lankan President. President Dissanayake then invited the Chinese President to engage in an official visit to Sri Lanka. During this state visit, the two parties signed 15 MOUs. Under these agreements, China granted 500 million yuan to Sri Lanka. Establishing active group for investment and economic cooperation, Chinese market access for Sri Lankan agricultural products, media and tourism promotion are some of the fields covered by these MOUs. The two parties also signed a joint declaration to set up export-oriented oil refinery in Hambantota at a cost of $3.7 billion. With the participation of top-level representatives of Chinese state entrepreneurship and companies, a roundtable discussion was also held under the patronage of Sri Lankan President under the theme of Invest in Sri Lanka. At this meeting, Chinese state entrepreneur companies expressed their willingness to make new investments in Sri Lanka and to further expand the existing investment projects. President Anurakumara Dissanayake also met Chinese Prime Minister Li Qiang. They discussed the development cooperation, trade, investment and economic cooperation between the two states. President Dissanayake also met the chairman of the Standing Committee of the Chinese People's Congress, Zhao Leji, and discussed many sectors of cooperation. A meeting between Sri Lankan President and the Communist Party Secretary of the Sichuan Province, Shi Xiaolin, was also held this morning. Sichuan is a province that has awakened to the dawn of development, conserving their historic cultural heritage. The city of Chandu of this province is the place where the most contented Chinese people live. It is also a leading economic development in many aspects. They also discussed to further expand the interstate relations and economic, trade, cultural and tourism relations between the Sichuan province and Sri Lanka. President Dissanayake invited the Secretary of the Sichuan province to share their victories gained in many sectors, including power and energy, with Sri Lanka. The President stressed that therefore the government is committed to fulfill aspirations of the public who place their trust on the new government. The President also invited the people of Sichuan province to visit Sri Lanka, where the people exhibit significant hospitality. Later, President Anurakumara Dissanayake joined an inspection tour at the Dongfang Electric Corporation located in Chengdu area in the Sichuan province.
The bilateral currency swap agreement signed between the Central Bank of Sri Lanka and the People's Bank of China has been renewed for a period of 3 years. Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, the Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, signed the agreement on behalf of the Government of Sri Lanka, while Pangong Sheng, the Governor of the People's Bank of China, signed on behalf of the People's Bank of China. The bilateral currency swap agreement signed between the banks of the two countries in 2021 has been extended successfully in accordance with the orders and conditions mentioned in the original agreement. Accordingly, the Sri Lankan Central Bank says that the financial cooperation between China and Sri Lanka is depicted through the monetary exchange facility of $1.4 billion.
Acting IGP Priyantha Veerasurya says that the maximum amount of 283.3 million rupees in the police history earned by drug smuggling has been recovered from the Kurunegala area. He revealed this fact at a press briefing held in Colombo today. Acting IGP Priyantha Veerasurya said that Police Narcotics Bureau yesterday seized money and property earned by drug smuggling. He said that this is the maximum amount of money seized in the police history. He added that the amount of 283.3 million rupees has been seized. He also said that these drug smugglers are prison inmates and operates their drug network from the prison. He further said that the money was concealed in a safe. The acting IGP said that in addition, police have taken 2 vehicles into their custody. He said that it is unbelievable that the money was placed at a normal house in a remote area. He added that these drug smugglers are smarter than the police, that they operate the rackets in a very secretive manner. He also said that since the drug smugglers are also a part of the society, it is the responsibility of the members of the society to provide information to the police regarding such racketeers. Views were also expressed regarding the underworld activities at this press briefing. Police media spokesman SSP Buddhika Manatunga said that methodology to bring the drug kingpin who is hiding abroad to Sri Lanka with the help of the international red notices. He said that the police have issued 65 red notices regarding these drug dealers. He added that their whereabouts have also been identified by the police. He also said that they usually take refuge in countries like Dubai, India and France. He further said that this suspect has illegally migrated to India disregarding the Sri Lankan law. The police media spokesman said that the criminal named Podilasi was taken into Indian police custody following a discussion with India. He said that now he will be brought to Sri Lanka. He added that as the police, we have to eliminate the cause of the crime, not the result. He also said that the police have arranged a long-term program to eliminate crimes from the island.
Former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa was called the Criminal Investigation Department today. He was called in order to record a statement. A statement was recorded from the former president in connection with an investigation conducted by the CID regarding a house in Kataragama. According to our correspondent, he has been in the CID for nearly 3 hours.
The Meteorology Department announces that the prevailing rainy condition may increase from tomorrow. Meanwhile, a number of sluice gates in many reservoirs are still open due to heavy rains. Over 100 acres of paddy lands in the Vannamkulama and Uttimaduwa areas in Thirappai Divisional Secretariat Division have gone underwater. Our correspondent says that overflowing of Eruvava and Mankattiya irrigational tanks has caused a flood situation. The main road from Polonnaruwa to Somawathiya sacred site still remain closed due to floods. About 2 kilometers of road from the 36th mile post are still underwater for about 3 feet. Polonnaruwa District Disaster Management Centre informed the public therefore not to use this road until further notice. 8 sluice gates out of the 12 gates of the Kaudulavav Reservoir are open up to 5 feet at present due to heavy rains experiencing in the area. It releases a water capacity of 1,250 cubic feet per second to the Kauduloya River. The Irrigation Department informed the public living close to the area to be vigilant over rising water level. All the 6 sluice gates of the Nachaduwa Reservoir are still open for about 5 feet. 12 sluice gates of the Rajangana Reservoir are open as well due to heavy rains. It releases a water flow of 5,800 cubic feet per second to the Kalaoya River. 2 sluice gates of the Angamu Reservoir has been opened, releasing excessive water to the Kalaoya River. The lands located in the low-lying areas of Vahalkada Reservoir in Lower Yan Oya are totally underwater at present. Haropatana electoral organizer of the National People's Power as Tilakasiri and many others started an inspection visit there to look into the problems of flood-affected people. The Met Department announces that temporary increase of the prevailing rains can be expected in the eastern, northern, north central provinces from tomorrow. Showers or thunder showers may occur at times in the Uva province and in Matale and Nuwara districts. Intermittent rainfall from time to time is expected in the northern, eastern, north central provinces and in the Hambantota district. Sporadic rains may occur during the evening or night in the Sabragamur and western provinces and in the God and Mathura districts. The Met Department informs the public to take measures to minimize accidents caused by temporary heavy winds and lightning.
3 Parliament employees who were proven guilty of causing sexual harassment to female employees in the Parliament have been dismissed. This action has been taken following investigations conducted under several stages. The investigations have confirmed that 3 employees are responsible for the offences. Later, under the recommendations of the Parliament General Secretary, Kushani Rohanadira, the Speaker gave his approval recently to sack the culprits. These sexual harassments that had been committed during the year 2021 and 2022 period was published in a newspaper in 2023. Thereby, under the guidance of the Speaker, a 3-member internal committee was appointed to look into this matter. The committee handed over its report to the Parliament General Secretary in August of 2023. The report was then directed to the Attorney General for further guidance. After that, relevant investigations were conducted under the guidance of the Attorney General's Department through the Police, Child and Women's Abuse Prevention Bureau. Upon the filing of relevant allegations, the accused officials requested a proper investigations on this issue. Later, retired High Court Judge Kusala Sarojini Veeravardhana was appointed to conduct a detailed investigation. This report was handed over to the Parliament's General Secretary last December, and based on this report, actions have been taken to dismiss the culprits from parliamentary service. The new digital system of the Department of Pensions has been vested with the public today. Accordingly, pensioners will receive a lot of benefits online. The ceremony was held in the Colombo District Office Auditorium. The new system has been launched, integrating 5 sections. They are the Information Network of reporting deaths of pensioners, the upgraded website of the department, the system of issuing train warrants to pensioners, the registration information system of widows and orphans, and the reoriented employees provident fund process. The aim of the creation of this digital system is to provide services of the Department of Pensions efficiently and in a friendly manner to the pensioners. Minister Chandana Ratna said that a message has to be given to the pensioners that there are problems faced by them, and it will be possible to minimize these problems through this process. He added that the associations of pensioners discussed about the problems that could not be resolved through the earlier process. The minister pointed out that the government will mediate definitely to resolve the remaining problems, since it is important for everyone who contributed in building the country. Secretary to the Ministry of Public Administration Aloka Bandara said that the challenge faced by the government service is the mechanism of work culture with the new generation. He added that citizens also expect swift services. He pointed out that there is a challenge as to how these services are to be provided.
The Department of Railways says that action will be taken to prevent the racket of receiving tickets misusing the internet system used for the purpose of getting train tickets. The General Manager J.I.D. Jayasundara made this observation in a media briefing held today in Colombo. General Manager of Railways J.I.D. Jayasundara said that the ministry has informed the CID to take action in this regard, and the CID is already in the process of conducting investigations. He added that an opportunity was provided under the online method in order to provide a better service to the train passengers. He further said that by misusing the system, the general commuter has been deprived of the opportunity to purchase a ticket. He also said that steps will be taken immediately to prevent the situation. The General Manager said that another reason for this situation station is the demand in Alla, Colombo and Badula train service, and steps will be taken to introduce 2 new trains. One of them will be from Nanuoya to Demodara, which will be a tourist train and will commence daily services from February 15th. He further said that apart from this, the train will be operating up to Demodara in the weekend. He pointed out that in this manner, apart from rectifying the mistakes in the system and providing solutions, steps will also be taken to provide further seat facilities in trains.
The European Union Election Observation Mission to Sri Lanka today published the final report on the 2024 presidential election held on the 21st of September. The report is based on 2-month-long countrywide observation and presents a detailed analysis and assessment of the entire electoral process. As part of this report, the mission offers 16 recommendations aimed at strengthening and refining future electoral processes in line with Sri Lanka's international commitments to democratic elections. The chief observer, Nacho Sanchez Amor, member of the EU Parliament, in a statement expressed that the 2024 presidential election marked a significant milestone in Sri Lanka's democratic journey and a renewal of political normalcy after a period of unprecedented turmoil.
This is the final report. This is the final product of our electoral mission to the country. Our findings. This mission, differently than others that we had in the country in the past, inevitably has been put in the framework of what happened before the elections, meaning the Aragalaya period, in which every friend of the country were concerned about what could be the final result of this street protest. And the fact that the country has had the presidential elections and then the parliamentary elections signifies a real milestone, because it's meaning the country has come back to normality. The country has come back to the normal institutional electoral politics, overcoming this period of street protest, and we are very happy to having been witnesses of this process, this peaceful transition to this period, to the normal activity of the institution regarding elections. Your legal framework is a perfectly conducive legal framework, well developed. We appreciate it and we praise the fact that finally the country has a financing campaign law, regulation or framework, and the inclusion of young candidates in the process that are, let's say, improvements in the legal framework. But in general, the legal framework is perfectly well developed to conduct elections.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amaru says that the responsibility of each and everyone at this point will not to think about only be the personal requirements but the future well-being of the country. She emphasized this point in a ceremony held at the BMICH yesterday. The ceremony had been organized for the award of membership to the Sri Lanka Engineers Institute. A number of officials of the institute, including Deputy Minister Janitruwan Kodituaku, joined the occasion.
It's a country, there are several issues. While we have made and we have developed a public education system that has made education accessible to many, we have not been successful yet in transforming that education to career paths that enable people to flourish. We provide paper qualifications, but not all of these qualifications transform into opportunities for individual growth or for contributing towards development, their own development, personal development, or the development of society and our country. While we have a primary responsibility to ensure that those coming out of especially our public education system are oriented towards serving their society, we also need to recognize that we are members of a global society and change and adapt accordingly and make sure that the qualifications that we provide enable all of our professionals to competitively face global society. Our belief is that our human resources should be equally valued, locally as well as globally. We need to make sure that the educational qualifications we offer are accompanied by professional recognition, value, and career paths. I've often met students who've completed their degree, their diploma, but then face challenges in moving on with their career because they have not received proper accreditation, the proper certification, or the degree has not been recognized globally or even locally. These are, I think, irresponsible decisions that have been made in the past. where we are churning out people with paper qualifications but not really following through on whether they are able to actually make use of those qualifications. When we introduce degrees or diplomas or whatever we want to call them, how those students obtain placements, advice on job placements must also be planned. As a government, we are committed to expanding opportunities, especially for technical education linked to industries and education, and we believe that this has to start from school. The world is changing fast, particularly in terms of technology. We need to be prepared. We cannot be left behind. If we are to move forward, we must make use of the opportunities provided by the technological advances the world is going through. To do so, we need qualified, ethical, socially and environmentally responsible engineers of every category.
A meeting was held at the Prime Minister's office yesterday between the Chief Observer of the European Union Election Observation Mission, Nacho Sanchez Amor, and the Prime Minister, Dr. Harini Amaru. The Prime Minister pointed out that the main aim of the government is to uplift the economy of the country in the first 2 years. Discussions were also held on trade, tourism, administration, and many other areas of the country. The occasion was attended by the Ambassador of Saudi Arabia in Sri Lanka and other officials. Another discussion was held in the Prime Minister's office yesterday between the Prime Minister and the new Army Commander, Lieutenant General Lasantha Rodrigo. The Prime Minister congratulated the new Army Commander on this occasion. In the meantime, the first official meeting between the Prime Minister and the newly appointed 26th Navy Commander, Vice Admiral Kanchana Banagura, was also held yesterday in the Prime Minister's office. A meeting was also held between Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amaru and the representatives of upcountry Jana Handa organization. The problems regarding land, housing, education and basic rights of the marginalized Malayham estate workers of the southern and western provinces of this country was also discussed. The Prime Minister paid her attention to the declaration of the above-mentioned community, and she said that the government will mediate regarding the education of the children and vocational training facilities.
The National Thai Pongal Day Festival will be held at the Tellipillai Durga Devi Kobil tomorrow in Jaffna. Gayatri Gobisudan of the National Television has the details. The Thai Pongal Festival of Tellipillai Durga Devi Kobil in Jaffna will be held from 7:30 a.m. tomorrow. The Thai Pongal celebrations of the 200-year-old Tellipillai Union College is also to be held tomorrow. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amaru along with people's representatives will participate in the ceremony.
National Thai Pongal Festival going to celebrate at Jaffna Tellipillai on tomorrow. We expect without any differences, Sinhala, Tamil and Muslim communities will join in this Pongal festival. This type of good activities will bring out a good name to the government in the mind of people. For Rupavahini News, I am Gayatri Gobisudan from Jaffna Tellipillai.
A special discussion under Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayathis was held regarding the future plans of Sri Lanka Ayurvedic Drugs Corporation, products, present problems and future targets.
The Minister inspected the immediate steps to be taken to increase the capacity of the drugs production unit, observing all divisions of it. Attention has been paid in this discussion to the repair of machinery, purchase of new production machines and installation of solar power systems in order to upgrade the power efficiency. Another matter discussed has been the recruitment of staff required for the purpose. The Minister instructed the officials to always present qualitative products. The officials were also instructed by the Minister to plan methodologies in the cultivation of medicinal plants with the collaboration of rural people, and also about the supply of raw materials which are required in the production of Ayurvedic drugs. The Minister added that steps will be taken to get the assistance of the Department of Agriculture also in this process. Officials of the Health and Mass Media Ministry along with others participated on this occasion.
The image house of the Polonnaruwa ancient city, which is also a World Heritage, is under conservation. The project commenced today at the sacred site in Polonnaruwa with the participation of the US Ambassador Julie Chang and Minister Dr. Hiniduma Sunil Senavi. The project is being implemented jointly by the US Ambassador's Fund for Cultural Conservation and the Central Cultural Fund of the Buddha Sasana Religious and Cultural Ministry. An amount of over 32 million rupees has been offered by the US Ambassador's Fund for Cultural Preservation. The US Ambassador Julie Chang emphasized that the United States and Sri Lanka shared a long history of partnership built on mutual respect and shared values.
It is an honor and pleasure to be with you here today at this beautiful World Heritage Site of Polonnaruwa, the second capital of the ancient kingdom of Sri Lanka, for the launch of the U.S. State Department's most recent Ambassador's Fund for Cultural Preservation Award to the Central Cultural Fund for Conservation at the ancient Tuparama Image House. Since we launched the Ambassador's Fund for Cultural Preservation in 2001 in Sri Lanka, we have supported 17 preservation projects worth over $1.5 million around Sri Lanka. Previous projects include documenting monasteries at the UNESCO World Heritage Site in Anuradhapura, protecting and revitalizing the Gal and Batiklo Fort, and preserving 4 endangered traditional and indigenous ritual music and dance forms and related craftsmanship from the Adivasi, Tamil Hindu, and Buddhist community. Most recently, I was in Kandy just last month with the Honorable Minister to formally conclude our preservation work at the old Kandyan King's Palace and the refurbished Archaeology Museum. It would be a wonderful opportunity for both tourists and Sri Lankans alike to witness the 7,000 pieces of art, statues, drawings, and other historically significant items from the Kandyan period, all of which are now securely preserved for future generations to come. So, in partnership with the Central Cultural Fund, today we launch our latest project focused on the preservation of this historic architectural masterpiece for future generations as a cultural historical monument and very sacred building for all Sri Lankans.
Another historical day for all of us, I believe, demarcating an outstanding monument with the assistance of United States Ambassador's Fund for Cultural Preservation. As a country, I must convey my sincere gratitude of Sri Lanka government's honors for you, madam, and your country people. As you mentioned a little bit before, we met months ago in Kandy to mark reopening the refurbished King's Palace that's called Dakum Malige, and the museum, Royal Palace, and the museum with the assistance of your same fund. Today, it is my great pleasure to share this priceless experience for initiating conservation of the Tuparama Image House within the World Heritage premises, Polonnaruwa, which is made possible by a partnership between the US Ambassador's Fund.
We now move on to more local news in brief. A bus driver was killed in a road accident when his bus collided with a cement transporting lorry along the Southern Expressway today. 14 passengers in the bus, which was taking a group of foreigners, were injured and admitted to Tangol and Beliata hospitals. The police say that the accident was caused as the bus driver fell asleep. The 2 school children were killed in a road accident which occurred at the Ranurava area in Nochiagama yesterday. The 2 students were riding a motorbike and collided on a passing bus. Our correspondent stated that the 2 students are grade 11 students who were studying at the same class at the Vidya Pratibha Vidyalaya. The cremation ceremony of the late Venerable Beratuduwe Jnana Vishuddhi Thera was held at the Gaul football grounds this evening. The Thera was the chief incumbent of the Gaul Valivatta Vidyananda Temple and Mahopadhyaya of the Sri Lanka Ramanya Mahanikaya. 2 wild elephants have come close to the Valavaya town this morning. According to our correspondent, the 2 jumbos were roaming in a place near the Valavaya Divisional Secretariat. The couple, who was about to have been attacked by wild elephants at the Nellikulama area close to the Anuradhapura sacred city, have managed to save their lives by hiding in a bush jungle in the area. Our correspondent said that a disabled person, while travelling on a motorcycle with his wife, have faced this unexpected incident. Arrival of foreign tourists to the tourism zone of the Katharagama sacred premises is increasing these days. It was visible that some foreigners are engaging in typical Kavadi dances in Katharagama. Many tourists have joined to provide food to elephants at the elephant shed belonging to the Katharagama Devalaya. Well, that's it on local stories. We'll be back with news overseas.